Well, we're here today to speak about Trump, Europe and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, an issue which has been under the media spotlight very much lately, and in particular since Trump's unilateral recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Now, this recognition comes on the heels of a whole series of policies and declarations by the US administration which really make up an unprecedented campaign of political and financial pressure against the Palestinians. Now, this campaign is directed at forcing upon the Palestinians Trump's so-called ultimate peace deal. These efforts have ranged from threats to unilaterally close down the PLO representative office in Washington, to financial pressure on the Palestinian Authority, an announced decision by the US to slash by over half its yearly contributions to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency in Palestine, which is the main United Nations agency working with Palestinian refugees. And most recently, just yesterday, Trump administration has announced its decision to include the head of the Hamas's political bureau, which the Palestinian movement Hamas, located in the Gaza Strip, on the US global terrorist list. So all of these decisions are part of this campaign to put pressure on the Palestinian leadership in an effort to make it capitulate and sign on to the Trump's so-called ultimate peace deal. But what is interesting is to see how Europe has reacted to these pressures and these efforts by the administration of Donald Trump. Europe's reaction has been primarily in the economic sphere, and in the economic sphere in the sense that Europe has tried to step in and fill the vacuum of US leadership, step in and make up for the declining funds that the US is disbursing every year to the Palestinians and to the United Nations agencies. So in this context, we can see how a number of European member states, Belgium among them, have increased their bilateral funding to the United Nations agency in an effort to forestall this budgetary shortfall, which has serious implications for the daily activities of UNRWA in Palestine. It is worth noting that UNRWA has just recently put out an emergency appeal for over $800 million in emergency funds to make up for this budgetary shortfall. So a number of European states are trying to step in and make up for these declining funds from the US. However, EU has also just recently, on the 31st of January, hosted an extraordinary meeting of the ad hoc liaison committee of international donors on Palestine, which is another political effort also to send a signal to the Trump administration that Europe is serious when it has reiterated its stance that East Jerusalem is occupied territory, and East Jerusalem is still today recognized as the future capital of an independent Palestinian state. Now, within this context, we can see how European Union has recently announced an expanded aid package for Palestine. This amounts to 42.5 million euro. Within this aid package, there's just under 15 million euro specifically earmarked for East Jerusalem. So again, we can see how these are signals towards to the Trump administration that Europe does not recognize Trump's unilateral recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. However, Europe needs to do more. Europe needs to go beyond the financial domain and also begin thinking about a political strategy. A political strategy is what really is needed in order to break the stalemate between the Palestinian Authority and the Israeli government. And just throwing money at the problem will not make it go away. Europe has been the major donor for the Palestinians for many years, yet all this money and these investments have not really been able to break the stalemate in the negotiations. So in this context, what we hope to see from Europe is a much more active political stance, as well as its efforts to increase funding to the Palestinians.